Hello, I'm Hope Newport, Family Services Manager at the International FOP Association. I'll be joined a little later in today's presentation by Karen Kirchhoff, our IFOPA Family Services Coordinator. On our third and final day of the 2020 virtual FOP Family Gathering, we're excited to be sharing some IFOPA-specific support resources that are accessible to you even after this event has ended. We hope that meeting us now during today's presentation will serve as a starting point for more community collaboration and communication in the future. I wanted to share just a little bit of additional information about myself. I'm a certified child life specialist, and many of you have probably never heard of that before. So I just wanted to tell you that child life specialists are professionals who support children and their families through life's challenges, such as a medical diagnosis. So child life specialists focus on providing developmentally appropriate information to help ease fears and misconceptions about hospitals or medical diagnosis. And they also provide support, guidance, and resources to parents, siblings, and other family members. So I'm going to talk about some specific IFOPA family service programs, but I just wanted you all to know that about myself so that you can reach out to me if you ever have questions about topics that pertain to that. So I wanted to do a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. Most of our resources break up into these three separate categories. And I'm sure that after this weekend, we can all recognize the amazing medical support that exists for our community. The IFOPA really works to complement that by providing support for our mental and emotional well-being of the community as well. So we're going to talk about the Resilient Living program here in a minute as a relatively new program here at the IFOPA that really works to meet that resource need. Second, we're going to focus on resources that help to overcome the challenges of living with a rare disease. So from a standpoint of knowledge sharing and being able to connect with those who understand your journey, whether that's families in the US or abroad or across the globe, there's several different ways that Karen and I work to promote those connections and that shared knowledge. And then the third category of topics or resources we're going to discuss is the ways that we collaborate with medical professionals and subject matter experts like the ones we've heard from this weekend to provide resources for managing FOP and staying educated about support offerings. And I just want to say a thank you to everyone in the community for taking part in this event and for the ways that you share knowledge with us throughout the year. It would only be possible for Karen and I to provide these programs with your support and with that collaboration. So thank you to all of you for all you do to make these programs possible. First, I'm going to talk about our Resilient Living program. So resilience, because it can be a term that a lot of people, is vague and hard to really have a concrete definition on. I just wanted to say resilience is our ability to recover from life's stressors. So this is a skill that can be increased with effort, education, and support. And it's not just something for individuals with FOP. We know that FOP impacts the entire family unit. So the resources in our Resilient Living program are not just for adults with FOP, but they're for parents, they're for caregivers, for children. There's really something for everyone. And one aspect of the Resilient Living program is that it really focuses on helping to broaden our understanding of how, of the many different ways that we can impact our self-care and our emotional health. So there are sort of downloadable informational handouts. There's exercises or activities that you can do. And then there's also a large video library that we have as resources for our families. So this image here on the right are the 10 faucets of resilient living. And social connection, social support is one of them we're going to talk about more here. But we have a variety of different resources to help families really be able to improve their skills in any one of these 10 areas. And one of the things that we've done is to do a monthly resilient living educational series. So there are recordings on YouTube for people to be able to access a 30-minute presentation with some ideas and activities that they can use to improve their ability to practice any one of those 10 skills you see there on the right. And an extension of this program this year is an energy medicine series that we did as a way to improve self-care and to provide some opportunities for movement for our community members. So those are just a few of the Resilient Living specific resources that we hope you'll check out after this presentation. And one additional extension of our Resilient Living program was the creation of a Friendship Over Pages book club. So the FOP Book Club, this meets approximately every 2 months throughout this past year. It was started this February, and it has participants from the US and abroad. And you can see just a few of the books that we've read. Most of the time we have 2 separate book clubs going on at the same time because no one can ever agree on one book. So there's a variety of different offerings you can see, from fiction to nonfiction to self-help to crime. There's really something for everyone. And one of the great things about the FOP Book Club is that you get to vote on the book that meets your interest. So you can always have a choice in what it is that you read if you participate. And you can read at your own pace. So because we meet every other month, there's usually a month or more for participants to be able to read and digest a book. And then at the end of that 2-month period, the members of that book club come together for a live video chat where they can have more of the discussion to share their thoughts and input. So this is a really good way to bridge social support within the community. And I think especially during today's times when a lot of us are spending a little more time at home, to just be able to have some additional interactions. Another way that those social connections come about is through our FOP Patient Directory. So I like to think of the FOP Patient Directory as a phone book for the FOP community. Each individual with FOP can create a profile for themselves. So this is an example of a profile. Below you can see our good friend AJ here, and it will tell you where this person lives, a nickname, what languages they speak, and their birthday. And so this phone book can have users who are individuals with FOP, but access can also be shared with parents if they would like to be able to get access to this. And then it allows those users to search by the country that they live in, by the state that they live in, or by a name. So especially for those families who are new to the community, if they're looking to connect and just have a shared experience with someone who lives near them, this is a great way to search. And I just want to make sure to clarify that this does not capture any medical information. The FOP Patient Directory is sometimes confused with the FOP Registry, which our registry coordinator, Sammy, will talk about next a little bit later today. But this does not capture any medical information. The purpose of the directory is really just to connect families and help them be able to find their FOP community on a state or on a national level. And then another area for social connection and secondhand learning is through our FOP Community Updates and our online support groups. So the Community Updates is a monthly newsletter that is sent to individuals with FOP and their families, and it's really a chance for the IFOPA to highlight some of the successes of members from within the community and to share our resource offerings with all of you and encourage you to participate. So I know it's pretty small, but you might see here in this Community Updates from earlier this year that there's a call for tool users to share the tools that they use at home. So this was something that Karen set up, and it was an opportunity for individuals to share, the tools that they use that have been most effective for them. So this is just one way that we kind of help to harness some of the knowledge that all of you have to share with the broader community. And we make those posts as well in some of our online support groups, which you can see here on the right. So these online support groups are for a variety of specific subgroups. There's immediate family and caregivers, support groups for parents, just support groups just for moms, for male family members and caregivers, women with FOP, and for bereaved families. So these support groups are really a good opportunity for community members to, again, share and connect. And it's something that Karen and I refer new families to as an opportunity to meet all of you. But it's also a wonderful opportunity for the IFOPA to learn from you in the groups that we're a part of. And I just want to say that these Facebook support groups are all managed by members of the FOP community. So we do not manage them. That is 100% really owned by all of you. And we're just so grateful for the groups that we're able to be a part of to be able to learn from all of you. A new social connection and resource that I wanted to share with all of you is our Zoom community resource. So this is a Zoom account that any of you can request to schedule a video chat with FOP community members through. So how this would work is that you would email me and I would set up a registration page that you could share with the community members on one of those online support groups or through an email. And then you can all have the opportunity to sign up for those meetings as well. So examples of some past Zoom community meetings are occasional happy hours that have taken place, monthly FOP bereavement group meetings, and bi-monthly FOP book club meetings. So those are just a few of the ones that have already been done, but this is a really great resource if you are someone who's interested in, playing a card game and you wanted to have a card game happy hour where you and your friends could get together and play a card game online. That's certainly something that you could use it for. So the opportunities are really endless for this, and I'm more than happy to work with you to help set something up. And then it wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about the social connection and the secondhand learning that takes place, really with our global community. So there are 24 national organizations that make up our International President's Council. And those leaders share updates on programming and support with the community at large. So, they share what they're working on with the IFOPA. We're able to learn from them. And it's really a two-way relationship with the resources we can share with them as well. So those resources include emergency medical information or resources, resilient living resources, ability toolbox resources. And I would just say that if there's a topic that you are passionate about and you want to get involved in or to be a leader in kind of sharing information with your community on a topic, so please reach out to us as you've learned about the ability toolbox through the presentation yesterday or through Karen later. Because we're really happy to work with you to help extend that knowledge to your community as well, if it's a topic that you are interested in. And then we also collaborate with our International Clinical Council. So the International Clinical Council is a group of 20 plus FOP experts, medical, dental, or anesthesia experts from around the world. And they provide regularly updated FOP treatment guidelines for you to share with your healthcare professionals. They also this year have provided coronavirus precautions for FOP families. And both of these resources are available for families on the IFOPA website. So we work closely with the ICC, the International Clinical Council, to be able to provide this really important medical information to families in a very accessible format. And then now kind of transitioning into more of the FOP management and educational resources, there's a couple of new ones in the Emergency Medical Resource Department that I wanted to share. So this year, we have created, with the collaboration of the International Clinical Consortium or Council, a personalized emergency medical form. So this image here on the left is a form that you can download, and it's currently available in English, Swedish, Spanish, and Polish. And you can complete this PDF form with your own personal medical information and carry it with you, so that if there's ever a medical emergency, you would hopefully have this, or your caregiver, a parent, someone would have it with them, or have easy access to it to be able to provide it to your treatment team. The second emergency medical resource that's been updated this year and will be available soon in 12 languages is the Emergency Medical Information Card. And this card is really a business-sized resource that a business-sized card resource that you can carry with you in your pocket, so that it's something that you could always have with you at any time. And it includes just an outline of some important medical points to share with emergency medical responders, and also a list of those contacts for those FOP medical experts who are either a national or an international expert. And another way that we strive to provide opportunities to improve your knowledge of different resources related to FOP is through our webinars. So throughout this year, we have done 5 webinars. The first was Life with an Assistance Dog and Process to Finding the Right Match. That was co-presented by a community member, Erin Danzer, who has a service dog and was able to share some of her experience and how she was matched with Pine and how he's such a valuable resource to her. The second webinar was on oral healthcare and its impact on the person's overall well-being. This was facilitated by FOP dental expert Clive Friedman and our very own family services coordinator, Karen Kirchhoff. And then the anxiety, depression, and why it's important to talk about mental health. This was presented by a therapist who was able to really connect with some members of the FOP community to learn a little bit more about some of the specific challenges of living with a rare disease and being able to support and provide some suggestions for resources specific to that. Our fourth webinar was Energy Medicine for FOP-related issues. This was co-presented by community member Ian Calley, who worked with our Resilient Living Energy Medicine practitioner who we brought in earlier in the year to share some really valuable YouTube videos, just quick short videos to help families better understand how they can access energy medicine and use it as a part of their day-to-day resources. And then the last webinar we did this year was FOP and nutrition, which took place just last month. So I'm going to pass it over to Karen to talk a little bit more about some of our additional resources.
Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, my name's Karen, and I work with Hope in Family Services. I'm the Family Services Coordinator, and just so you have a little background about me as well, I'm a physical therapist, and for the first 18 years of my career, I focused on infants and toddlers, so that's where some of my passion lies, but I've always had an interest in adaptive equipment, so I'm going to share a little bit about some of the services that I help manage through the Family Service Program. This first slide, so this talks about welcome calls, and welcome calls are actually something that Hope and I do together. When a family is newly diagnosed, we love to connect with you and learn how to support you. We especially love to just learn about your family, learn about the members of your family, and then if it's your child that has been recently diagnosed, we do like to learn about the FOP progression, if there's any limitations that you're already experiencing. Hope, as the manager, will share with you on those calls about some of the IFOPA programs and some of the services. And then things that I enjoy sharing are some tips and some tools and some suggestions that you can use for your child when they're newly diagnosed to keep them safe, but still participating in their childhood activities. So I do like to learn about limitations that you might be having. We love answering questions during those welcome calls. And then we always will follow up with some activities, some suggestions, some tool suggestions that you can use. And even though those welcome calls are for newly diagnosed families, if you have never connected with Hope or myself and you would like to have one of those calls, we definitely don't limit those calls to the newly diagnosed families. We would love to connect with any of you to kind of learn about your story and see if there's any ways that we can support you. Something else that we do during those welcome calls is we will send out resources to you, whether that's via email or we can send them printed versions of them. And again, if you're not a newly diagnosed family, but you would like some of these resources, we're happy to send them to you so that you have them accessible. Some of the resources we can offer are just brochures about the IFOPA and who we are and what we do, about some of the programs that we offer, like Hope mentioned, the Resilient Living program, or the 2 programs that I'm going to tell you about here in a few minutes, the Ability Toolbox program or the Quality of Life program. And then we have additional resources, like Hope mentioned, the emergency resources. We have dental resources. We have a lot of information that we can send you so that you can be as active with the IFOPA as you want. Maybe you're not ready to participate at first, but we want you to know that we're here for you whenever you're ready to become a part of the group. Something else that I manage at the IFOPA is the Ability Toolbox program. And hopefully some of you joined me yesterday and were able to learn a little bit more about it. But if not, that recording will be available for you to go back and take a look, and I encourage you to do so. Basically, the Ability Toolbox program is a program that is here to help empower you to stay as independent as possible with FOP through the use of adaptive equipment and tools or home modifications. Some of the things that we focus on in the Ability Toolbox program, the main thing that I like to do are the consultations that I do. I can have a one-on-one consultation with you or with the whole family if you have questions about adaptive equipment, whether you've been using adaptive equipment for years or you're new to it and just want to learn a few tips. I'm happy to meet with you, whether that's through video conferencing or a phone call, or if it's easier for you to do email or text, or for international members of the community, I'm available on WhatsApp so that we can translate our text messages back and forth. But that's the main thing that I enjoy doing, is connecting with you, learning about you, and seeing if I can help brainstorm to keep you a little bit more independent. I am also available to do presentations, obviously here in the US, but also internationally because of COVID. Obviously, I'm not doing any of those meetings internationally or in the US right now. But if your country is interested in having the Ability Toolbox program come to you, not only will I come and do a little presentation for you, but I bring as many of the tools that I can fit in my suitcase with me so that you can see some of them and hold them and touch them and try them out and learn about some of the options that are out there. Another interesting thing is that we do have a lot of homemade tools that we collect from people in the community, so that if tools are not accessible to you wherever you live, you can see some homemade versions, that things that people have created to work for them in the community that are similar to something that you can purchase, but maybe a lot easier for you to obtain if there's not somewhere you can purchase tools in your area. A new program I'm also starting that will be pretty much up and running by the end of this year are tool ambassadors. So if you're not comfortable reaching out to me about maybe a situation that you're experiencing, maybe you've had a change in your mobility and you need some support, we do have some peers in the FOP community that have agreed to be tool ambassadors. So there's someone that I can connect you with that you can hear their experiences. I will try to match you based on your interests, your age level, or maybe even the level of progression of your FOP, so that you can hear firsthand from someone else how they got through a situation and how they used a tool to maybe stay a little bit more independent. Another program that will be going by the end of this year, if you are joining us somewhere in the world as a medical professional, we are starting some medical toolkits. And what these kits are going to be a small sampling of adaptive equipment that doctors who treat individuals with FOP can have in their office, so that if someone comes in and has a question about adaptive equipment, we're going to have a few samples of some of the most common tools that people use, so that doctors can take those out, show them to people, and have some information to send people home with. There'll be some handouts in these kits. We are this year starting with just a prototype. A few doctors in the US and a couple international have agreed to try these kits out for me and give me feedback. But starting next year, if you are a medical professional and you would like to have one of these kits in your office, all you need to do is contact me and I'll have one sent to you. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about the big project that we have for Ability Toolbox. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about it, I'm going to talk briefly about it here, but definitely check the exhibitors booth out. I have a video there that will do a little tutorial walkthrough of our new Ability Toolbox online guidebook. And what this guidebook is essentially a database that we're starting to keep all of the tips and all of the adaptive equipment that you and the FOP community have said work for you or somehow helped you maintain your independence. The Facebook support for FOP group that Hope mentioned earlier, there is always great discussions on that group. Sometimes there's medical questions, but a lot of times the questions revolve around adaptive equipment. And it's usually great in the moment to be a part of those discussions, but after some time goes by, those discussions can be lost, and it's really hard to go back in time and find answers to questions that you might have if you missed a conversation that happened 2 or 3 months ago or even a year ago. So what we're going to start doing here with Family Services in the Ability Toolbox program is we're going to start this database, the online guidebook, and it's going to be all the tools, all the tips, anything you share with me or anything that you share with support for FOP, and we're going to catalog all of it for you so that this can be easily found in one place. It's going to be categorized by activity, so maybe dressing or eating and cooking or hobbies and recreation. There's a pediatric, a school category. So any category you can think of, we're going to have tools in that category that the FOP community has said, hey, this worked for me. So we're going to start this database. It's very newly launched, so there's a few tools in each category, but what we're asking is that please submit things to me that I can add to that so that we make this a very meaningful resource for the entire community. And then lastly, I want to talk about the Harold and Elaine Kaplan Quality of Life Awards. I talk so much about tools and adaptive equipment, but what happens if you live in a part of the world where it's very difficult to access those things, or some of the items are very expensive and you don't have the money to obtain those? The IFOPA does have a program, the Harold and Elaine Kaplan Quality of Life Awards, and what this is basically a scholarship for anyone who has been diagnosed with FOP, and it is a grant that we award to you for $1,800 US. Now, we recently were able to increase it because Dr. Kaplan very generously gave a gift when he won a medical award last year, and that funded the account that we have for these awards so that we were able to increase the amount. So previously, if you have used an award and you have already used up your $1,500, you now do have an additional $300 that you can use for something that improves your quality of life. That's kind of what we ask about these awards, is that you asked us to purchase something that improves your quality of life as it relates to FOP. There are applications for this on our website, and there is a button that you can click to change those applications to any language. And when those applications are submitted, they come to me, and I pass them off to a committee that does all of the review of your application. They make sure that those awards you're requesting are appropriate and that they do relate to your FOP. And there is no guarantee that an award will be granted. The committee is made up of individuals with FOP and parents of individuals with FOP. So they're definitely watching out for you and making sure the award item you're requesting is safe and is appropriate and will be useful for you over the longest period of time possible. When those items are approved, then I will go ahead and get those ordered. And if you are international, I do ask that you work with me on the wire transfers. What will happen is we do wire transfers directly to the store or the vendor of where you want the item to come from. And sometimes internationally that can be a little bit tricky, trying to figure out all the information we need to have those wire transfers go through. So I do appreciate your patience and your help when processing those awards, but it's definitely a great program to help you obtain some of the equipment that you might learn about in the Ability Toolbox program, but maybe don't have access to or don't have the funds to purchase them yourself. So I wanted to show you just a couple quick examples of some of the items that people have been awarded. Something like on the left here, we have an adjustable table. It's an electric table that moves up and down for this gentleman who sometimes works from his wheelchair and sometimes likes to work standing up. We have air mattresses, the interesting gadget right there in the middle that looks like space age. That is an iPad holder for someone who needs to be on their iPad in a reclined position or doesn't have the ability to hold up an iPad. That's a really great iPad stand. We've awarded wheelchairs. And if something is more expensive than the $1,800 US, then you do have to come up with the additional money to pay the difference. And you can use that $1,800 all at once, or if you want to order something smaller, then we keep track of that money and we let you know how much money you have left to use in the future. We have awarded recliner chairs that have automatic lifts to them for people who can't get up off of furniture on their own. Bidet toilet seats, wheelchair ramps, desk chairs. Really, the sky is the limit on what you can ask for. We've paid for conversions to retrofit a minivan for wheelchair use, and even things like cell phones and laptops. If that helps you connect to the FOP community, that helps you connect with your community at home, or it helps you perform tasks at your job, then that might be something that the committee approves. So I just wanted to give you some examples and let you know some of the different options that you have to obtain adaptive equipment. So now back to Hope. We just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of glimpse of what might be coming in 2021.
Yeah, thank you, Karen, for all those good details about the Ability Toolbox and the Quality of Life Awards. So in 2021, Karen and I have done some brainstorming to really focus our programming around one central topic. And the topic that we think is very important for the community to receive some additional support in is advocacy training. So you can see here at the center of our advocacy training outline is problem solving and perspective. So this is one really critical point of the content we'll be offering next year, is to increase these problem solving and perspective skills in our community. And then surrounding this are a variety of different topics that we'll be holding. Some of them may be webinars, some of them may be more of an informal Zoom panel where we have a number of panelists from the community who are kind of sharing their experience and discussing with other attendees, how they can support them in different areas that they're looking to develop skills in these specific topics. So this is something we wanted to bring to all of your top of mind, so that you can keep an eye out for this in 2021 as we start to kind of share more of the ways you'll be able to get involved in this programming. And so we're going to now move on to the Q&A and see what questions have come in throughout the presentation that Karen and I can answer.